Hi, shalom friends. There are two professions which traditionally are associated with Jewish culture and perhaps even Jewish ethics. One of them is medicine, the other one is law. It occurred to me, perhaps advertising is also part of the Jewish tradition and culture. Now you may ask, where in the Torah, where in the Talmud do we have advertising? And it's obvious. We have a mezuzah, where essentially in front of the house we have a sign that says this is a Jewish home. And it's not to be taken lightly. It's a very, very powerful symbol. I mean, if you want to buy shoes, you look for a store that advertises something about shoes. If you want to look for an accountant, you look for a sign that says accountant. If you want to look for a Jewish home, you look for a mezuzah. I'm sure I'm not unusual that when I first moved into my house, one of the first things I did was to find out, do I have Jewish neighbors? After all, I feel very comfortable with people of my own faith, and I'd like to get to know them. So I took a walk, and I was fortunate enough to find a couple of mezuzahs. And right away I said, you see, I'm in a Hamish neighborhood. I have already people that are of my tradition, of my faith, my culture, though they might not be observant. But the fact that they had a mezuzah already was a powerful testimony that I am not alone. I could assure you that if I ever get stuck somewhere and I need help, I would definitely be much more comfortable knocking on the door of a stranger if I saw a mezuzah there, because essentially we're not strangers anymore. We're already sharing a common glorious tradition and hopefully a common glorious way of life. So that's a mezuzah. But every once in a while, you get a curve. You knock on the door, and you say, hi, shalom, I noticed your mezuzah, and he gives you a blank look. And he says, excuse me? He said, the mezuzah, my name is Rabbi Hecht, I live down the block. And he looks and says, oh, you're Jewish. Oh, I'm not. And I point to the mezuzah. I said, oh, I'm sorry for disturbing you. I saw the mezuzah. Oh, I left it on. The one before me had it. He said it was good luck. And I walk away, with thinking of some type of response to wish him good luck. So I say to myself, this is really false advertising. They promised a product that was not really there. But I'll tell you where I have never, ever, ever been wrong. And that is, if I meet someone, and usually it's a woman, but sometimes a boy, and they're wearing a gold bracelet or gold chain, and at the edge of the chain is hanging a decorative mezuzah. Almost 99% of the time you say shalom, and that person responds, shalom, I was in Israel and I bought this, and I mean, that's a walking mezuzah. Obviously, it does not have halachic implications, but it has, for advertising, 1,000% a message. I am a Jew, and I am proud of it, and I am willing to let people know about it, and I am happy to be identified by it. So why am I talking to you about a mezuzah? So let me introduce it by a story that actually happened, I believe it was in the 70s, and then conclude with the message that I think the story teaches us. This happened in France. I think you pronounce the word Lyon, and there was a Jewish girl taking a course in economics, and though she was not terribly observant, she was traditional, and got very excited to find out that there was Chabad Rabbi who gave classes and who had a family and who would invite the students to his home. So this, we'll call her Kayla, this Kayla, started to come for Shabbos, came very, very close with Rebbe and enjoyed the classes, but was not yet ready to keep the Sabbath completely, not yet ready to keep fully the laws of kosher. But she had a wonderful, warm, vibrant Jewish home. So the Rebbe said to her, Kayla, why don't you just put up a mezuzah? I mean, it's not hard work. It doesn't seem to take a lot of commitment. I mean, we both know that a mezuzah is a Jewish thing. It protects the home. It's a reminder that you're Jewish. It's a reminder that God is in your home. She liked it. She had no hesitation. She paid whatever it was, and she put the mezuzah on her door. As you know, there's a lot of unrest in terms of anti-Semitism in France, and after a couple of months, she was walking over to a girlfriend, and as they go into the house, the girlfriend looks at Kayla and says, I really don't know why you have a mezuzah on the door. She said, well, I'm Jewish. She said, that's the whole point. There's a lot of anti-Semitism, and if you never know, what happens if, God forbid, there's some type of a bad person that comes into this apartment building of 5 stories high? There's only going to be one mezuzah. You're going to be targeted. And being that she was quite aware of the unrest and the anti-Semitic in particular, she decided to take it off. I don't know if she put it indoors or not, but she took it off the outdoors. And life continued. A couple of weeks later, as she comes back from university, she sees a note on the door. To whom it may concern, I have a package that, like FedEx, left, and it's on the 5th floor, 5E. So she goes upstairs and knocks on the door, and there's a Mr. Lansom opens up, and he says, I was downstairs, and I saw the FedEx leaving, and the FedEx asked me, do I know the person who lives in 2A? I said, yes, I do. He said, well, can you maybe accept a package on her behalf? And I said, gladly. So here's the package. And she, of course, said, thank you for being such a good neighbor. And as she leaves, very shyly, he says, shalom. So she turns around with a big smile. Shalom? You're Jewish? And he looks at her with a strange look. He says, I am Jewish, but I have a question for you. You're the girl that had the mezuzah on the door, right? She said, yeah. How'd you know? Why did you take it off? So she looked at him. She said, I don't know. I guess I didn't want to identify publicly. He said, I'll tell you why. I'm asking. He said, I lost my entire family in the Holocaust, and I was broken in spirit as well as in body. When I came to France, I decided I would have nothing to do with the Jewish community, and frankly, I was pretty upset with God, so I didn't want to have much to do with him either. And over 30 years past, I have never walked into a shul or kept Yom Kippur. A couple of weeks ago, the elevator was broken, so I had to use the steps. As I'm walking in the steps and I'm going from one landing to another, I noticed a mezuzah. And he said, I can't explain it to you, but I had not seen a mezuzah for so many years, I was drawn to it. So I went to the door, put my hand on the mezuzah, and I began to caress it. And I began to cry. And somehow the mezuzah brought back a lot of memories, and they were not bad memories. The memories that were bad was the evil Nazis, but not the people and my family and the Judaism. And I was maybe there 20 minutes, very emotional, and I went upstairs, and I was a little shaken by this. And every single day, I figured out when you're not home, and sometime during the day, I actually go to the mezuzah, I put my hand on it, and that's when I talk to God. He said, I've been doing this for a couple of weeks, and then I suddenly noticed it's not there anymore. Of course, she saw this lonely, broken man, and she met and felt a broken and a lowly spirit. She said, you're not alone anymore. Come. This Shabbos, I'm going to a lovely family. Please join me. And the rest is history. Both of them started their life anew as a Jew. Avram, at the age of 73, became a complete, observant Baal Teshuvah, was reunited with his community and his fellow co-religionists. And this Kayla, I changed the name deliberately, this Kayla became 100% not only an observant Jewess, but she's married in Israel with children and so on. So here's the power of a mezuzah. Now, the story can end over here, and my message to you would be that you never know who you are influencing by having a mezuzah. That you're influencing yourself is clear, because it's a reminder to you that this home and everything that's inside of it is a place where God is. And of course, it's an opportunity to fill it with holiness and goodness. It's an opportunity to plead with God and to implore God for continued blessings. He also but you never know what it might be doing for the person that visits you, or the person that sees it, or the Jew in whose distress and sees a mezuzah and is reminded that he's not alone. But I want to go a step further and point out, you might yourself be a walking mezuzah. Just like I prefaced my remarks by saying, when you see a person with the jewelry of a mezuzah hanging, you know right away he's a Jew, and automatically there's a kinship and a closeness. Imagine if you walk down the street, and by your dress, and by your appearance, and by the way you talk, and indeed even by the way you walk, people know, here goes a Jew. That effect that you have on people cannot be calculated. You might be influencing people in the better. Even the non-Jew, who, heaven forbid, is influenced by some type of image he sees on CNN or some other news channel and says, are Jews really that pushy? Are they really that evil? Do they really take advantage of disadvantage? What does he know about Jewish people? And then he looks at his neighbor and sees a fine, dignified human being, a good citizen, a good neighbor, a pious person. A person like that says, no, there must be something wrong with the image that I'm seeing, because you are a walking mezuzah and you are reminding people of the existence of God and the existence of his people. We all know that a mezuzah in our tradition is a protection. We often say that it's a mitzvah. We do it because God commanded us. But one of the benefits of this mitzvah, we are assured of divine protection. I would suggest the following, that if we could be walking mezuzahs, of course we're Jewish inside, but if somehow from our outside we could convey that innate dignity and that sense of pride, and that sense of nobility, that we are a chosen nation. And we are a nation chosen by God to represent the best of humanity. This will indeed not cause anti-Semitism. It will bring a protection to all Jews all over, and by doing so, bring a tranquility and a peacefulness to the world itself. So shalom. I cannot kiss you, but as we know the love we have towards the mezuzah, I end with that as well. Shalom.